Euro meets some resistance around 1.0700. The euro advances marginally against the US dollar. European stocks kicked off the week on a positive mood. US inflation figures will drive the market sentiment this week. The euro, EUR, looks to extend Friday's optimism against the US dollar, USD, encouraging EUR, USD to attempt another move to the 1.0700 zone at the beginning of the week. On the flip side, the greenback runs out of steam, following Friday's ephemeral visit to weekly peaks, around the 106.00 barrier when tracked by the USD Index, DXY. The divergence between recent hawkish Fedspeak and investors' perceptions of a protracted pause in the Federal Reserve's, Fed, normalization program is expected to dictate the price action around the US dollar. Around the European Central Bank, ECB, there was nothing new in recent comments from Christine Lagarde. The ECB president reiterated that inflation remains too elevated and that the bank should bring inflation down to its target in a timely fashion and maintain the current restrictive stance for a longer period. Daily digest market movers. Euro clings to daily gains on cautious dollar. The EUR briefly tests the key 1.0700 yardstick against the USD. US and German yields kick off the week with marginal moves. Investors expect the Fed to refrain from hiking rates in December. The ECB is seen entering an impasse in its tightening campaign. Geopolitical effervescence remains unabated in the Middle East. Markets' attention should remain on US CPI and PPI. Technical analysis. Euro's next up barrier emerges near 1.0750. EUR, USD looks to extend the upbeat mood and retargets the key barrier at 1.0700 on Monday. Further recovery could see EUR, USD revisit the November top of 1.0754, November the 6th, prior to the 200-day simple moving average, SMA, at 1.0801 and the weekly peak of 1.0945, August the 30th. The psychological level of 1.1000 comes next ahead of the August high of 1.1064, August the 10th, and another weekly top of 1.1149, July the 27th, all preceding the year-to-date peak of 1.1275, July the 18th. If sellers regain the upper hand, the pair might initially face transitory contention at the 55-day SMA at 1.0640 ahead of the weekly low of 1.0495, October the 13th, and the 2023 low of 1.0448, October the 15th. Further weakness in the pair remains on the cards while it trades below the 200-day SMA. ECB facts. What is the ECB, and how does it influence the euro? The European Central Bank, ECB, in Frankfurt, Germany, is the reserve bank for the Eurozone. The ECB sets interest rates and manages monetary policy for the region. The ECB primary mandate is to maintain price stability, which means keeping inflation at around 2%. Its primary tool for achieving this is by raising or lowering interest rates. Relatively high interest rates will usually result in a stronger euro and vice versa. The ECB Governing Council makes monetary policy decisions at meetings held 8 times a year. Decisions are made by heads of the Eurozone national banks and 6 permanent members, including the president of the ECB, Christine Lagarde. What is quantitative easing, QE, and how does it affect the euro? In extreme situations, the European Central Bank can enact a policy tool called quantitative easing. QE is the process by which the ECB prints euros and uses them to buy assets, usually government or corporate bonds, from banks and other financial institutions. QE usually results in a weaker euro. QE is a last resort, when simply lowering interest rates is unlikely to achieve the objective of price stability. The ECB used it during the Great Financial Crisis in 2009-11. In 2015 when inflation remained stubbornly low, as well as during the COVID pandemic. What is quantitative tightening, QT, and how does it affect the euro? Quantitative tightening, QT, is the reverse of QE. It is undertaken after QE, when an economic recovery is underway and inflation starts rising. Whilst in QE the European Central Bank, ECB, purchases government and corporate bonds from financial institutions to provide them with liquidity. In QT the ECB stops buying more bonds and stops reinvesting the principal maturing on the bonds it already holds. It is usually positive or bullish for the euro.